The financial system wasn't built for your success. It was designed to enslave you. This is the story of how an ancient mortal sin became the invisible chain around the neck of all humanity. For most of recorded history, one financial practice was considered so vile, so corrosive to the soul of a society, that it was condemned by the world's great religions and philosophers as a mortal sin. This practice was usury, the charging of interest on a loan. Imagine a medieval monk hunched over a sacred text. I would tell you, to make money from money is to create a monster. Money is a tool for exchange, a dead thing. It is barren metal. To make it breed is unnatural, a perversion of God's order. It breeds only misery and decay. This is not a path to wealth, it is a path to damnation. For centuries, this was the law of God and man. The logic was simple and profound. Lending was an act of charity, a way to help your neighbor in a time of need. To profit from their desperation was seen as monstrous, a form of predation that would rot a community from the inside out. We see the consequences in historical etchings. Desperate, indebted peasants, their faces etched with despair, handing over their last possessions to a smug moneylender. Their land, their tools, their future, all lost not to a bad harvest, but to the relentless, unnatural growth of a debt they could never repay. This wasn't just an economic theory. It was a moral foundation of civilization. It protected the poor from the rich and maintained a sense of communal obligation. But this foundation was about to be shaken to its core by a secret revolution. The Renaissance didn't just bring us breathtaking art and scientific discovery. It brought a secret coup, a philosophical shift so profound it would reshape the world. While Michelangelo painted the Sistine Chapel, a new class of financiers, men like the Venetian merchants, were whispering a heresy in the back rooms of power. Their idea was seductive and dangerous, that time itself could be sold. Picture a wealthy merchant in his palazzo, surrounded by silks and spices. He smirks and says, "Why wait for heaven? The future has a price, and I am its buyer. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. Yes, the money I give you today is worth more than the money you promise me tomorrow. That difference, that gap in time, that is my profit. With this power, we can own kings, we can finance wars, we can build empires, not on land, but on the future itself." This wasn't just business. It was the seizure of a power once reserved for God. The theologians argued that time belonged to God alone. You couldn't sell what wasn't yours. But the merchant's logic of time preference was too powerful. It was the key that unlocked unimaginable wealth and influence. They argued that a florin today is more valuable than a florin a year from now because you can use it, invest it, enjoy it. This simple idea allowed them to rebrand usury as interest. It was a genius marketing move. They weren't sinning. They were simply charging a fee for the service of providing money now instead of money later. This subtle change in thinking was the intellectual weapon that brought down the old moral order. It transformed money from a simple tool of exchange into a self-generating force. And it turned the moneylenders from pariahs into the new masters of the universe. The invisible prison was being built, brick by intellectual brick. And this brings us to today. It's the shocking truth of your life. The system that began in the back rooms of Venice now runs the entire globe. You wake up, you go to work, you pay your mortgage, your car loan, your student debt, your credit card bills, feel like you're on a treadmill, running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. This isn't a feeling, it's a feature of the system's design. It's a modern economist, if they were being truly honest, would reveal the horrifying secret at the heart of our economy. They would say every dollar, every euro, every yen is born as debt. Central banks don't print money and give it away. They lend it into existence, with interest attached. This means that from the moment of its creation, there is always more debt in the system than there is money to pay it back. The interest is the ghost in the machine. Yes, it doesn't exist yet. To create the money to pay the interest on the existing debt, we must take out even more loans, creating even more debt. It's a global treadmill. Interest is the engine that forces the world to run faster, not toward prosperity, but just to keep the walls of our debt prison from collapsing around us. Demands perpetual, exponential growth forever. Think about that. It's a system that can never, ever be in a steady state. It must always grow. If we stop borrowing more, if we stop running faster on the treadmill. the whole thing implodes because there won't be enough new money to pay the interest on the old money. This is why you feel the pressure to earn more, to consume more, to borrow more. It's not your personal failing. It's the system demanding its fuel. Your labor, your time, your future, you are the fuel. This relentless need for growth is also what drives the depletion of natural resources, the planned obsolescence of products, and the constant pressure to turn every aspect of human life, from education to healthcare, into a profitable, debt-generating enterprise. We are not citizens participating in an economy. We are human resources being consumed by a system that prioritizes its own perpetuation above all else. And now, for the final, chilling revelation. The logical conclusion of this centuries-long journey. The total amount of debt in the world, government debt, corporate debt, personal debt, now vastly exceeds the total amount of money in existence. The numbers are so astronomical they lose meaning. Hundreds of trillions of dollars. It's a mathematical certainty. This debt can never be paid back. Not ever. It is a promise that cannot be kept. The system that the Venetian merchants created has reached its terrifying endgame. It is no longer a tool for financing trade or building infrastructure. It has become a ravenous entity in itself. It requires constant, accelerating growth just to service the interest on its own impossible mountain of debt. We have built a fire, and to keep it from going out, we must throw everything we have into it. Our savings, our homes, our planet's resources, our children's future. We are not participants in an economy. We are fuel for a fire that will one day consume everything. The sin of usury, once condemned for breeding misery, has been institutionalized on a global scale. The barren metal is breeding, and its monstrous offspring is a world chained to an unpayable debt, running on a treadmill to oblivion. The invisible prison is complete. The doors are locked, and we're all inside. Thank you for watching. If this has opened your eyes, share this video. The first step to breaking free is understanding the nature of the cage. Subscribe for more truths they don't want you to know.